Hey Chris, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Thanks for willing to talk again.
Yeah, sure.
So before getting into Honkai, I know it was cool that you got to be part of Fire Emblem again as the main villain in the last game.
Yes. Zombron or whatever, yeah. Or Sombron, yeah.
Was that just like an auto cast, or did you still have to audition for that?
Oh, I auditioned, yeah.
How was that experience like for you?
Oh, it was awesome actually because I really didn't know for sure exactly what we were doing, but then they kept my director kept telling me, he's like, "Oh, this guy's pretty rough." And I was like, "Well, this is going to be fun then." Like and so yeah, he's not a nice guy at all.
Mhm. So with Honkai, was that like was there any kind of special story with that audition too, or was it pretty general?
I'll be honest. I didn't know anything about it, and they kept talking about Penacony, and I was like, okay, I don't know any of this. You know what I mean? And it was really fun though because Gallagher's so chill. He's like he's complex. There's lots of things going on with him. He's like a bartender, but he's also like a security officer or whatever, and like part of this bloodhound thing. And I was like, wow, this is a trip. And then everything's like a dream state, and I was like, what is happening? But I like the characters, so it was fun.
Mhm. How could you relate to him?
Well, I definitely enjoy a few beverages myself. But no, I like the sort of his emotional connection to making these cocktails and stuff. Like it's kind of funny. I found it amusing. Um I also like the fact that he's sort of tortured in a way. There's people he cared about in the past that you find out more about them. It's very interesting.
Was it because obviously it's like pretty much just your natural voice, right?
Yeah, for the most part, it is. I everything had to be a little cooler. Other than that, it's pretty much my natural voice, which was I always liked that. It's interesting for me because I'm so used to doing a character of some kind that it was actually like, oh, you're just getting me making cocktails. Just a little, like I said, he's a little cooler, a little more full of himself than I am.
Did you hear any of the other languages prior to recording, or
No. Occasionally they would no, no, actually on that specifically, no, I never, nope. I read everything. Um, it was kind of funny. I just flowed pretty well with him. And so they'd give you the blocks of text and you would just jam through it. And, you know, like I said, I didn't totally know all of what was going on. And some of the names, Penacony and things like I was like, what is this?
well, one of the top questions that people had for his fan community was it your decision to like make up the like animal sounds that happened with him too, or
Well, yeah, I did a few like they had moments that they were like, well, here's kind of what we're doing, and then I would just, yeah, sort of improv some stuff. Yeah.
yeah, since I don't know if you've noticed it, but like one of the biggest fandom appreciations with your performance as him is the like meowing and barking and all that stuff.
Yeah, pretty funny stuff. And occasionally you get to do some interesting things in this business, um, and you have to not be afraid. You have to just go, okay, I'm going to do this, and and see what happens. And it's also on them too. They wanted certain things. You know what I mean? So it's up to your director really. And I had a great time working on the project, and it was a lot of fun.
Was there a like a single line that you had to get into his headspace for recording, or
Um, I have to be. There was there's a few times that it got a little emotional because he would talk about people that meant something to him, and it definitely you get into that headspace because you put yourself there, and then you're like, oh boy, that was rough.
do you
And he
remember
talks
any
about
like
people he cared about and things like that.
Yeah. Well, do you remember any like single favorite lines? If you have any?
No, and I also know that I recorded something I think that isn't even wasn't even in the game, so I'm like, I got to be real careful about what I say. But no, I love the character, and I didn't know anything about Honkai Star Rail, and I thought, wait, so it's like a a train in space? What? And so I didn't really understand it. But it's again it's fun, and I love the character, and yeah, I think a few times you sort of connect with them, and yeah, I can't I got to be careful what I say.
Okay. Well, I don't even know if you would know, but some other people were asking like if you have any other favorite characters that are in the game or
uh Only because I know them, Himiko. Because I know
okay.
Chia. Chia is awesome. So actually we hung out, I watched her play the game, her stream, and I happened to tune in at the right times. They were talking to Gallagher a lot, so it was kind of like, oh wow, there's my moment. And I got to watch them play through the game, which I thought was fun. I had never really, it's the first time I checked out the game, so it was neat.
So you haven't played it yourself yet?
No, I have not.
Okay. Mm. Yeah, some other big ones were if you knew or like what your thoughts were about the like twist that he has for his character.
The fact that that like right there at the end, basically when you see him go, oh, so you caught on, huh? Like that is that's what I'm trying to be careful, because I also know that there's spoilers or whatever, but yeah, he has a little twist to him, and it was funny because it was a separate session, and so I had finished the session, and then they called me back for another one, and then suddenly I was like, well, this doesn't sound like he normally sounds. You know what I mean? And they were sort of like, well, there's a little bit of a twist, and I was like, oh, I see. So yeah, again, I don't want to spoil anything or whatever, but hopefully everybody's already checked it all out. But
Yeah. Mm, I guess we sort of talked about this a little bit already, but one question was that somebody had was with how layered his personality is, if there was any difficulty recording that or how you approach that.
no, I mean I like to be fairly blank. I like to I like to sort of go into it, and then the line comes up, and sometimes they'll give me a bunch of context and I'll know exactly what's happening, and I'll be like, okay. And then other times they would be light on the context, and I would go, I would start reading it, and then I'd go, is that the right way to put that? And then they'd go, yes, here's what's happening. And then I'd go, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes they purposely left you sort of like, well, you figure it out, kind of, and then let's see what happens. I think was a couple times where it was just like, let's see what he does with this. And then they would give me some direction, and maybe change things. But there was times that I was like, I'm not really sure why he's saying this, but then they would explain, and I'd go, oh, okay, I see. But it was a fun experience, I can tell you that much, and I love the character. So
What do you think the biggest differences between you and him are then?
I would say he's definitely a bit more full of himself. He's cocky. I don't think I'm a little more humble than that. And he's obviously very attractive and stylish. So I mean, he's got that going for him. Sorry, I'm a little tired. I actually went to a basketball game last night, and probably had a couple too many.
Oh, no problem. There were a few questions too about what your like personal favorite drinks are.
Um, I'm a I'm a real silly, got the beer belly. I'm a double hazy IPA kind of guy. I just that's kind of my thing, I guess. And then if I'm having cocktails, it's usually like a whiskey and coke, like a Jack and Coke.
Okay. Do you plan on playing the game at all, like trying it yourself, or
I'm not sure. Like I said, I basically watched Chia play. She played for over 5 hours, And I tuned in a couple times to watch what was happening, and I was like, "Wow, this game is crazy. There's so much going on, and there's so many different styles of like art and character. Like there's cartoony characters, the clocky and all that stuff. Like there's some very interesting things about this, uh, the whole project that I was like, it's so out of this world. It's crazy. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and it seems like there's a bunch of narratives and stories that sort of like, okay, this one stops for now, and then we'll continue on with this other one, and then that'll stop, and then another. So there's a lot of weaving going on. I got to hand it to him because I was a little confused, but I still think it looks pretty interesting.
Have you had any direct interaction with the fandom, like for his character?
Not really, other than I have my Discord and I have people that come to my stream and they come and so they've been filling up there's a section called characters we love or whatever, and uh Gallagher got put on there, and then everybody was like, oh, and then there was a lot of swooning. And it's great. I absolutely love it. One of the people in there, shout out to the Gravy Witch. She posted, "Oh, this is my Pinterest now," and it was just nothing but Gallagher. It was hilarious.
Yep. Mm, and this is another drink one, but like I guess it's probably similar to what you answered. But what kind of drink would you make, like for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's usually like a whiskey and a Coke. I usually use Mexican Coke or cane cola, and then a lot of times like the highest best Jack I can get or something like that, a bourbon, is usually me. And then I don't know. Sometimes you add a little something to it, cherries or something different. I don't know. I'm not a good mixologist. I can say that. I know I go to a place where they do a lot of crazy cocktails, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot going on there, and it's stuff I've never heard of.
Yeah.
It's like a certain kind of vermouth. I'm like, what the heck? So yeah, it's very interesting. The people that are mixologists are like chefs. They put different flavors together and create some different thing. Which I really like.
There were just these aren't questions, but just a lot of people that say that they specifically play it in English because of your performance.
Oh, well, thank you to everybody that does. I mean, I've gotten to do a couple of games now where I'm, just the U.S. or English voice, and it's awesome. I mean, I know that there's some Japanese and Chinese actors that were probably, great at the role, but I'm very happy that when I get the opportunity, and I appreciate anybody that plays it in English so that you can hear me. That's awesome. Thank you.
Mm, yeah, is there anything that you want to say to his fandom?
um, Indulge yourselves. No. No, I don't know. Thank you to everybody that appreciates him. I can't take any credit other than my part of it, my acting of it, but the obviously the writing and all of the brilliant creation that is Hoyo and the Hoyo verse or whatever. It's amazing.
I don't know if you could like think of something, but like, how do you think he would like Gallagher would respond to like a fan base for him?
Oh well, it's only natural you'd be, appreciating the best. Oh, I hope that's even close to right.
Well, I know most recently too that you got to be part of a Unicorn Overlord, and that's really popular now.
Yes, I was Bertrand, a big bear.
Yep.
And somebody even made I had a friend or two make the joke like, "Oh, let me guess, you are playing a big bear." I'm like, "Yep, that's it. We get the joke." But yeah, I didn't even know why. So again, some of these games like they have code names and all this other stuff, so you never know what you're really doing, and especially when they're universes that I've never heard. You know what I mean? Like their IP I've never heard of before. So I'm like, oh, I don't know what this is. And some of the places have funny names and stuff like that, and you're like, what is this thing? But they told me I was a big bear, and I was like, well, that's awesome, cool. And so yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love doing what I do, that's for sure.
It was really cool and surprising to see you be part of the new Sandland anime and game.
Yes, that starts this Wednesday on Hulu and Disney Plus, and
What
I'm
was it
in the
like?
game. Yes.
Yeah. What was it like being directed by Wendy?
Oh, tremendous, great director. It's funny. She would push me to do. She go, "Oh, you're always kind of doing this music, and change your music here." And I go, "Okay." And then she'd go, do that, and I'd still mess it up, and then I'd come back and I'd do it right, and then she goes, "Yeah, there we go," and I'd go, "Yeah, you're right. That's great." Like, you know what I mean? It's so funny because, like, the director is seeing and hearing something that you're not, and they're so good at what they do that they're like, "Oh, let me take you over here," and you're like, "Wow, thank you. That was really fun." Like, you know what I mean? So, great direction, and I almost always wanted to play him too silly in a way, and she was like, "No, no, no, no. Like, this is where he's serious right now." And I was like, "Okay," and like it was great. She wonderful director.
It'd be cool if you start to wind up in more anime projects.
Oh, I would love it. It's all about getting the audition, really, right?
Yeah.
So yes,
So
I
is
would
there,
absolutely love it.
I suppose, is there anything else that's like upcoming or part of you can safely talk about, or
No. I mean, there is stuff coming, I think, but I can't really talk about it. I know that I think they announced, yes, they did announce, I think, that I'm playing Gar in what is it, Iruden Chronicles?
oh yeah,
Yeah, that's coming out, and I'm going to be a character named Gar, who's like a big wolf man. Uh, and he's not the main, he's not a lead or anything. He just hangs with Noah, the kid, and gives him advice and things like that, and sort of mentors him as they go. And it's really fun. And they have a feature that I can't. Obviously, I shouldn't say anything to get. I don't want to get in trouble, but there's a really cool feature there that we got to play around with and had a lot of fun. And I was like, I can't wait for people to play this and check it out because it's going to be hilarious, I think.
has like being part of all these more, I don't know, like anime game projects, like got you more interested in the like whole, I don't know, like scene for that lately?
Yeah, I've always liked anime. I can't say like I was hardcore into it or anything like that. Like, a few things I like. Obviously, Dragon Ball. Like everybody's watched Dragon Ball, you know, and I liked that. I always thought some of the choices are always sort of funny to me. I'll be like, really? And they're like, yep, that's how it works. And I'm like, okay. But it's like, all right, well, that's a different way to look at things, and that's why I like doing them. Is like I get exposure to this, different stuff and different ideas and people's creativity of like they create these worlds, and you're like, that's amazing. We did Ark, or what is it, Lost Ark, or it was like an Amazon game or something. But anyway, that one, some of the stories, you're like, what? Why would he do that? And they're like, because in this world, like this, and I'm like, somebody thought of all that and came up with this cool new world, and that's amazing.
Mhm. That's why it was just so like for me personally, it was so surprising to see you finally be part of Honkai because just like knowing the people who are behind the character and then like knowing how popular some of them will really get. So it was cool.
Yeah, no, I was thrilled. It was like I said, it's kind of an honor because you're like, well, thank you, everybody. You know what I mean? Like, thank you to the directors, thank you to the person who cast me, everybody, because it's like it's really fun to get to be into these things and love doing it, man. And I'm hoping that everybody appreciates the work.
Well, it was nice to talk to you again.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you. Sorry, I'm a
Hope you
little
have
off today, but yeah,
a, hope you have a good rest of your day
yeah, you too.
then. Bye.
Bye, everybody.